Hello YouTube, Mewtwo back with another response video to Ed T1138's latest question. And this week the question was provided by AndrewsGameDisplay, another good YouTuber, massive collection. He's got display in his YouTube name for a good reason. It's just insane the stuff he has. And this week he asked, what are the 3 rarest items you have in your collection? Now, Ed himself went into the whole rarity does not necessarily equal value. I mean, an item could be a lot more valuable, but still more common. Things like Earthbound and that sort of thing, and that's very true. So, I thought about it. As always, amazing doing this thinking thing. It's crazy. And for the sake of this video, I decided to discount some obvious contenders. And they were kind of homebrew productions, such as these two, Digger-chan and Pear Solar, or however you pronounce those. Now, they haven't been mass produced. I know there's a couple of thousand of these, and there's getting up towards 100 of these, but because they haven't been mass produced, they are going to have a more limited run than pretty much any game you could think of. So even ones that are marked as being very rare, even things like Earthbound, are going to be more common than these. So I'm leaving these out of the discussion, otherwise they would make it very obvious, very easy number 1. And on a similar point, I'm going to leave all my reproductions out too. And that's because, again, I know the production run of these and it would definitely be rare if you were to compare them to a typical mass-produced release. As far as my collection goes, they add a lot of value, but they fall into a different category. So to the side these go as well. Squishing wee jog there. Now, on to my kind of main picks of games. Unsurprisingly, bit of Sega love. First up we have Championship Hockey on the Sega Master System. So why is this rare? Why have I picked this? Well, basically this was a late-ish release Master System game in Europe. What year was it? 92 it says? Sorry, 1994. Yeah, it was originally a 1992 game by EA, but it wasn't published in the Master System until 94. And US Gold basically rushed this out to kind of capitalize on the market before it petered out altogether. Because by 1994 the Master System was on the wane. I know in the US it'd been on the wane long before that. And ultimately this is a shite game. As such, it didn't sell all that well. And now it's hard to find. Recently this has also started to ramp up in value. I would have thought it was worth about 80 euros. And recently copies have been going for 200, 300, 400 euros. Where this sudden surge in value came from, I don't know. But it is definitely one of the harder to come by titles in the Master System set, so it makes it in as my number 3. Number 2 then is also a Master System title, and it is Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego? And you may be thinking, why is this in this list? Now, this game was never released in Europe, at least not officially in the same sense that, say, this was released with the multi-languages in the back. This is an American game. Although I did buy it back in the day in Ireland in my local kind of store. It was basically the stock that was in the US that was unsold near the end of the lifespan was all kind of brought over to Europe to be, sold off. And I came across this. Now, what makes this slightly, well, definitely rarer than in most games is that it is one of the later branding Sega for the 90s variants. You can see it there. And that's on the artwork on the insert, on the cartridge, and then on the 2 manuals. So the game manual and the Detective's Almanac. So basically Sega near the end of the kind of Master System run, or basically in the early 90s, hence Sega for the 90s, they started to rebrand some of their stuff with that, sticker to Sega for the 90s, as a kind of a last ditch attempt to, hey look, we're hip, we're cool, we're for the 90s, just like Clacks. And some of it sold, some of it didn't sell, but as such, as it was a later thing, print runs were much smaller. The amount of complete copies with all the paraphernalia to have the sticker in good condition is pretty low. You don't see it all that often, and as it's only a variant, you would have to ask in auctions, in every single auction, to find, is it this version, or is it just a standard version with no sticker? So it's a bit like Sonic, the US release, which had an American UPC or whatever sticker is over the barcode that made it rare. In this case, it's the Sega for the 90s sticker making it rare. There are other ones of these. I think King's Quest, I've only seen a cartridge with that sticker. If it had full release with that sticker, it'd probably be a hell of a lot rarer too. As for the value, it's hard to say. There's one up on eBay that's been sitting there forever, nearly at 200 quid. Obviously people aren't willing to pay that much for that particular sticker, even though it is hard to find. Value, rarity, they never seem to want to go hand in hand, do they? Now finally, moving on, nearly knocking over my stack, something a little different, perhaps you could say it's cheating, I don't know, and it is Viva Pinata for the Xbox. And of course you will be saying, that's quite a common game, and certainly a lot more common than your previous two picks. But this is, if you can make it out in the camera, is signed by 4 of the developers. Originally, and also, it's made in Ireland. I don't know, I can't remember the complete story. I'd have to get my girlfriend to tell me again. Basically, she was at some sort of tech competition that Microsoft were sponsoring, and some of the Rare guys were over, and they were doing kind of bonus goodies and items for those that were helping part and those that were taking part. And at the end of the day, this was a few other items, and this was left over, and they were offered those that were helping out some stuff, and she picked up this for me because she knew that as it was signed, it would be in a sense close to unique. I don't know how many they signed or whatever, but it's so hard to get items signed by development staff that it makes it certainly a standout title. Again, I'm guessing it's rare in that sense because it's not like there's a production number count on signed things. And as for value, who knows? Maybe nothing. But I like it. It adds a certain difference to what you have in your collection. As a side note, and I'll try and be brief, this was sealed, completely sealed, and the developers had signed it before it was packaged, presumably. But I had decided that I wanted to play the game, so I actually opened it up and played the game, and it was an okay game and whatnot, but I had only got the Xbox a short while at the time, so I decided I'd give it a go. And it goes against the point of never opening sealed items wherever I put it. Oh yes, this one here, of course, being still sealed, as I do clearly. It's not just a case of I leave them all sealed like a maniac collector that hoards things away. If I fancy playing them, I do open them. Someone had been on at me about that before, so there you go. I can unseal stuff. Anyway, there are my 3 picks, wherever they're gone. Those 2 and that one. So, what are your 3 picks? Anyway, go check out Andrew's channel, good stuff, and as always, thanks to Ed for the question, and we'll see you again soon. Don't forget to subscribe and like and all that good stuff as well. Thanks for watching.